Hi, I'm Mike. I'm the CEO of Aussie3D. Aussie3D has the largest range of 3D printers in the Southern Hemisphere. Together with my staff, we've used and tested hundreds of 3D printers, and tonight we're going to bring you what we consider is our top 5. It'll be over $2,000 and under $10,000, but that's Australian dollars.
Hi, my name is Charne and I am the owner and designer from Mark Clothing. I work with Mike in the Aussie3D team and also with the A3DMA team, which is the Australian 3D Manufacturing Association. I am the head of their fashion division, and together we create 3D printing garments.
Okay, so our number 5 this evening is the Creatbot DX. Now this is the 02, so it's the one with the 2 nozzles. You can get it with 3 heads as well. One of the great features about the Creatbot is the fact that it's got such a big build size. It's got a 300 by 250 by 300 build size, which is the largest build size out of all our top 5s. Gives you the option to really create some really large stuff. So it's really good for the engineering companies who want to do rapid prototyping and see what it's like out in the field, or even in your architectural companies that want to do large scale models to show their customers.
Something I really like about the Creatbot is the fact that it's got 2 metal hot ends, so it does go up to 400 degrees, which means it can print basically anything. So if you think about your woods, your copper, your carbon fiber, yeah, it really does everything except for rubber. So with the Creatbot as well, I wouldn't recommend it for first time users, because you do need to have a little bit of technical skill and a little bit of knowledge as well on your 3D printers.
And that's probably the only one on the list that actually does need that. So every other one that we've got is real plug and play, but this one you do need just a little bit of technical knowledge. So
some of the prints that we've printed on this particular machine, I'll show you now. So this is a PLA modular design. This is part of an arm piece, so obviously it does extend out here as well. So that's just, it's not all printed yet, but it definitely does create movable parts as well. With this one, so we've got a little castle here. So this is a good example of what this printer can do as well. You know, when the power drops out, it does stop, and when it restarts, it does move on from where it stopped as well. So it basically did it just around there as well, but as you can see, it's perfectly castle-like. And then we do have a bench here as well to show you. Obviously this is the biggest scale of our torture test, so yeah, it's fantastic quality, looks amazing.
Our number 4 tonight is the Upbox Plus. Now, this particular printer has come from the TierTime family. Now, TierTime is the largest selling 3D printers into Australia. The reason being is for years they've been producing some really good quality printers. Before it was the Upbox Original, and even before that was the Up Plus 2. So we've had some really good printers come out of this particular company, and they're really well known in this area.
With the Upbox, what I really like about it is definitely the way it looks. It's very appealing, especially if you're looking for a little bit more of a stylish printer.
For the home use or the office.
Use, yeah, or for the office, or you can easily put it somewhere and it'll fit in with everything. But another feature I really like about the Upbox is the fact that the filament actually hides within the printer, if that makes sense. It's just on the side, and you can peel it out and put it back in. So that makes it very classy and nice and nicely shaped as well.
The Upbox is also fully enclosed, so that's really important on a couple of levels. One, it gives you safety when you're around small children and things like that. They can't get in there and touch the hot end, but it also makes it a stable environment for printing. Now that's a very big deal, because if you can control the environment around it, it makes it a lot easier for the printer to actually do its job and get the prints right the very first time. So another feature that I really like is that it's now Wi-Fi enabled. What that means is that you can connect 5 of these in a bank along, and you can have it connected to just one PC via Wi-Fi, or you can even connect it via your iPhone, your tablet, or your Android phone, which is a really cool thing that they've done. Adding to that is an automatic bed leveling system. So you can now set it up, do the auto leveling, and then you're off and running, which is another really nice feature, and it's something that I think is a must in these premium model printers. The Upbox Plus does still have a couple of issues that need to be sorted out. So Inside, we've got a perforated bed. Now this perforated bed, when you do your prints to it, it's actually going to leak through a little bit. So once it cools down, it's very difficult to get off. Now, tier times say that you need to peel it off when it's hot. Not all of us have time to do that when straight after the job, so we might come back to it in an hour or so. So it does make life a little bit hard, especially when there's other beds out there like the ceramic or the PEI, which work perfectly. It's time that they upgraded this.
Another downfall I would probably add to the printer is the fact that it's got minimal controls as well. It's only got 3 controls on the side, but it does tell you how to use them. Although it doesn't actually satisfy, you know, especially when you're going to do a print, know exactly how to do it. You have to look at it, type it in, then try it, work it out. So if it was a little bit more with,
user-friendly,
yeah, it would definitely work a lot better. So the building space that we have is 255 by 205 by 205, which gives it a decent size to work with your projects. So what I really like about the Upbox is the fact that as soon as you're busy with your print and the power drops out, you can resume. So it does have that awesome feature. So you don't have to worry if something happens with the power, or you know, your cord gets jammed or something like that. It does resume afterwards. It's fantastic. So some of the prints that we've done, I'll show you now with the quality and stuff as well. So we've actually printed a skull of the Upbox, which can show you that we can actually print a relatively decent size as well with the Upbox. Another one is a Benchy as one of our torture tests. This one's actually a much bigger one as well. So the Upbox, I would definitely recommend the Upbox for educational purposes as well. Seeing as it's in a family environment as well, you can, you know, be a family, teach your kids how to do it. You can teach yourself how to do it. I think it's fantastic as well for any kind of project.
Yeah, it'd suit a lot of environments, especially the family home, because of the way it looks. It's very cool. Your small to medium offices and even your rapid prototyping sort of engineering companies. So it does cross over the boundaries, which is really nice, and that's one of the reasons we've selected it as our number 4. Our number 3 this evening is the new Ultimaker 3 Extended. Now, this has only been released about 3 weeks ago, so we've been testing it very rigorously for the last 3 weeks and really putting it through its paces, because it's a fantastic printer, and once we tested it, we couldn't leave it off our list. Now, Ultimaker 3 is made by the brand Ultimaker. Ultimaker are an open source company, which is fantastic because they're giving back to the community all the time. So they gave everyone Cura, which I'd have to say probably 80% of the consumer 3D printers out there are using that particular slicer. So I consider that to be the very best slicer in the industry that is a free software.
The reason why this printer is our number 3 is because it's very reliable. If you're an architect or some kind of person that have to do really defined prints, this printer is actually fantastic for the small details as well.
It's been put together with a lot of attention to detail. So the guys at Ultimaker have gone to no expense to make sure that this is a quality printer and it prints really good quality stuff day in and day out. So you will get a really good high quality print with this particular printer.
A feature that I really like about the Ultimaker 3 is the fact that it's got a built-in camera. So for creative people like myself out there, this is awesome. So for your processing and your manufacturing and actually showing people how 3D printing is done initially, this is a fantastic tool to have. Even if you're not in the room, you can actually double check and make sure that the print's fine wherever you are, which is fantastic.
One of the things I don't like about this new Ultimaker is the new head system. So this whole hot end comes as one piece. So normally with the last Ultimaker, you had nozzles that you could just replace. So it was a $25 part that you could replace because your nozzle will wear out from time to time, especially if you're using the experimental type of filaments with bronze and carbon fiber. They're very abrasive, so they will chew through your nozzles. Now, this particular one, you can't replace a nozzle, which was a $25 part. So if you wear through this nozzle, you're looking at a $200 replacement.
So another thing about the Ultimaker 3 is the fact that it's got a glass bed. So that's just a little bit of a downfall, because with your final prints it makes it harder to get it off the glass because you have to scrape it off. If it was a ceramic bed, then you can just pick it up off the bed.
This is a fantastic example of what the Ultimaker can do. If you have a look at the detail in Hellboy here, it's really quite incredible. Like, the Ultimakers have always done gorgeous quality prints, and this 3 is no exception. It's done a really good job of this particular print.
Another print that we've tested out with this particular printer is this one over here. So that's printed with no support structure, and it is by far so amazing because you can definitely tell that with your finished product you can go into detail a little bit more as well. We actually did another print with it. So we've printed a little head and we created...
The Terminator T800.
T800.
So very, very cool. So yeah. If you see on the screen now, you can see the water-soluble filament dissolving off it, which is really cool. So that took us 2 days to get rid of all the soluble material from it. And as you can see, it makes life a lot easier rather than picking off the material. So to wrap up on the Ultimaker 3 Extended, I would definitely say that I would highly recommend this for home use because of its ease of setup and using. I would use it in the architectural industry because of the quality of the prints, and even the engineering that want rapid prototyping and places like that. It would definitely have a really good home for it. Now, our number 2 is the Witbox 2. This is the predecessor to the original Witbox. The original Witbox won a lot of awards because it was considered one of the best in the industry, and the Witbox 2 is no exception. It's surpassed the Witbox 1 quite considerably. Now, it's also been made by a company called BQ. BQ is a Spanish-owned company. It was started in 2009 by 4 engineers. Now, over the space of 7 years, they've created a company of 2,000 employees. The reason they've done this is because they're making exceptionally good quality products, and the market's really embracing them because they're also open source, which is incredible because they're even doing laptops and phones and things like that. But the Witbox 2 is a tremendous 3D printer. So we'll run you through some of the features. Now, the Witbox also has an auto bed leveling system. So when you first start it up, you've got to run through it manually once, which is very easy to do. Only takes about 2 minutes. But after that, it'll auto level itself every time, which is a really cool feature.
So another thing about the Witbox that's so exciting, we've actually sold a couple of these to Thor 3, the movie. So they've printed some of their props with this particular machine, and it's fantastic because it produces great quality prints as well. So have a look as soon as it comes out for the props. And just continuing on the very great quality prints that we just talked about for Thor 3. We've got a couple to show you anyways. If you dial it in within the computer, then you can get an awesome print just like this. And it can peel off just as nicely as well. So I'll show that one for you as well.
So this is a great example of how you can use your 3D printer. So this is printed in 2 pieces, and then we just literally connect them up together afterwards. And if you have a look at the detail and the quality of the print, it really is something special. The Witbox has done a gorgeous job printing this, and I've been really happy with the results I've been getting out of it lately. So because BQ's the company behind it, the electronics in this are second to none. These guys design tablets and smartphones and things like that. So for them to do the electronics in this was a real breeze. But they've also, because they're open source, they've got the schematics up there online, so you can learn from what they've done and how they've done it. So it's very impressive with the software and the electronics that they've got behind this particular printer.
So another good feature about the Witbox is actually the fact that it can take all kinds of experimental filaments. So if you're thinking about wood, you're thinking about copper, you're thinking about even rubber, this is a great printer for it.
One of the only downfalls of this particular printer is it's got a glass bed. Now, it's not even a heated glass bed, so it does find it difficult for things to stick to it. So I'd recommend using build tack or ABS slurry, or even blue tape would be the things that you would need to use when you're printing on this particular printer. So it is something that lets them down. If they had gone to the ceramic or the PEI, I would have been a much happier person. The other thing that it doesn't do is it doesn't print in ABS. Now, ABS is one of the most sought after materials for the 3D printing industry. So for it not to be able to print that, it does let it down a little bit.
So with the Witbox as well, it's got an awesome build plate. It's got a 210 by 297 by 220 It looks fantastic. I would say you can put it anywhere in your house. It will still fit in quite nicely. And it'll be an awesome feature as well if you know, and an entertaining piece as well, because it does have that openings on the side. So the WITTBOX, I would definitely recommend it for even filmmakers, seeing as it's been done already.
Store's already done it,
exactly. And also creative people as well. So some jewelry pieces as well, they'll be awesome. Architects,
rapid prototyping. Exactly. This one really crosses a lot of different fields. I would even put this in the education environment because of the locking system on it. It's also quite good for the education. So it pretty much crosses all levels, so you can feel comfortable buying this no matter who you are.
And that's why it's on number 2.
Okay, so we're finally here. This is our number 1. Now, it's also actually called the 3D Gents one. It's made by a Polish company called 3D Gents, and the company was formed in 2014. Now, in 2015, a Polish billionaire called Michael Solowell bought into the company. Now, I don't know much about too many billionaires, but I've never really understood what they saw and how they see it. But after seeing this printer, I can see what he saw and the reason that he's invested his money into this. So to get to be where he is, he's had to know some special things. And this particular printer, he saw what no one else did at the time. And what he saw was this construction of a printer that was unlike anything else. Now, it did have some flaws when it was first opened in 2014, and that was the software. But they've now upgraded that because they've got a really smart CEO called Andrei Kokola. Now, what he's done is he's instilled the best 2 softwares, which is Simplified 3D and Cura. Cura is by far the best software there is for open source and free software, so they've given that to you, but they've also given you Simplified 3D as well, which in my opinion is the best software there is for slicing in the market. But it's a paid software, so not all people get to use it. But this comes free with this particular printer, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, now let's walk you through these features because they're incredible. To be quite frank, I haven't seen anything like this before. So let's go through. So I've got 4 linear rails on this. I've got one here up the top, I've got 2 on the sides, and then 1 down the bottom. What that does is it makes for a really smooth travel system for your bed and your print head. And what that creates is a really beautiful finished product. So it's exceptional, the quality that you get out of this particular printer. Now, if that wasn't enough, they've put in these gigantic ball screws, 1 here and 1 there. So they've actually got 2. If you check out the other printers in the market, they've got these little tiny screws. And having a big ball screw like this will once again make it a really smooth transition to make your print, and then once again that quality is second to none. Now if we move across here, you've got something that I really love. 3D Gents have thought of something that's really outside the box. So it's got a can here. Now, this particular can is a cleaning of your filament. So as it travels through, it's got a sponge inside of it, and what that does is it cleans the material. Now, the reason that's important is because if you don't do that, you can get dust and grime build up, and when it gets into the head, it'll make it under extrude or fail. And this is a really simple solution to a common problem that nobody else seems to be thinking about. Now this moves us on to the ceramic bed, and this is probably my most favorite feature, and it's something that everybody else in the 3D printing industry seems to be missing or not knowing how to use it properly. I don't know what's going on, but this is by far the best bed there is in the industry. There's 2 types of beds that work awesomely, and that's a PEI bed and the full ceramic, and the full ceramic is the better of the 2. Now the reason being is when you put your print job down to it, you don't need to use ABS slurry, glue stick, tape, nothing. You just print straight to the bed and it'll stick to it like glue. Now when it cools down, it actually releases that job and you can pick it up like a glass off a table, which is incredible. So we've had this sitting here for quite some time now, so it's cooled down sufficiently. So let me show you just how easy it is to pull a print job off the table. That's it. That's as simple as it is. This is next generation. anyone that's out there that's manufacturing printers and is getting into the game, or even old manufacturers, need to understand this is the way forward, and the old ways of the ceramic or of the glass beds, heated or not, aluminium and things like that, they're just a thing of the past, and it's time to upgrade and start using this ceramic type of bed.
So the Gents has another great feature, which is a push release system for the heads. So you basically just push the button there and you push it out, and then you change it with a new one. So sometimes what happens with the heads, it does take about 25 minutes to clean them. So especially with doing projects such as myself doing fashion, you don't want to, stop between your projects and then having to, clean it first and then redo it. So this is fantastic for someone like me. Yeah. Another great aspect of the 3D Gents is the fact that they've actually thought about their consumer. So you can actually customize your own printer. So with the sides here, you can customize it with different colors. So this one with red, blue, orange and yellow. And then obviously with the metal chassis as well, that can go into light gray or black as well, which is fantastic because you can customize it to your living space as well. So
the other awesome feature about this particular printer is its complete bed leveling system. So what it does is it's an auto system. So the very first time you start it up, it'll run through a 500-point laser guiding system, so it'll measure every single point on the bed to make sure it's perfectly level. Now, this in itself would be a really cool feature, but after that, when you do your print jobs from there on in, it'll have an auto compensator. So if there's something on the bed, it'll actually pick that up and it'll print straight over the top of it, making sure that you always have a perfect print job. The only flaw I found in this printer is the LCD display down here. Now, if you have a look there, that's where you get your information from the printer. So you can control your printer via the printer, which is great, and that's something I like. But when it's the table's in its lowest position, it's very difficult to see. So you actually have to go down like this or move to the side when you're using it. And that's the only thing I've been able to find that I didn't like about it. It's also got a pretty decent build size. So it's got a 255 by 235 by 195 high. So it's a reasonable size in the build size as well. So that moves us on to the direct feeding system. Now the direct feeding system is my favorite feeding system because I believe it's the most accurate. It also is fantastic for when you're doing your experimental filaments. So your PLA blended with carbon fiber, bronze, copper, all those sorts of things, it works really well. The one particular filament that it worked fantastic with that I wasn't sure how well it was going to go is rubber. Now we used this with Charne's dress, 3D printed dress, and she can probably tell you a little bit more about that.
As Mike just said, I've used rubber on this specific printer as well on my 175 centimeter tall dress. It came out fantastic. There was literally nothing wrong with it, and the fact that this particular printer could print something like rubber was fantastic within the quality as well. Yeah. So we've done a couple of prints with the 3D Gents. I'll show you those ones right now. So we've actually printed a little bit of a rocket ship, so we'll put it together for you.
Very cool. So you can make things bigger than the actual build size itself.
And then I'm going to show you some that we've done as well. Like this one, which is a fantastic print. That's a very intricate design as well. So.
And they've printed that. So we printed this without actually any support material as well. So we wanted to show the quality of how you could print without using any support structure at all. It's basically printed that in midair.
Another one we've done as well is to make sure that something can actually move whilst, within a print. So I don't know if you want to show that one to the people as well.
So what you can see here is some gears that we've printed. Now this was printed without any support or any infill. So that basically means that we've printed this in one piece, no assembly, and this to spin like this is absolutely incredible. The accuracy that this printer needed to do to make a moving part like this is really next generation. So if you were to try this on another printer, you would get much different results. So what you can see here is our baby Benchy. Now this is an incredible little print. So this is our torture test, but what we've done is we've shrunk it right down to 25% of the normal Benchy. And as you can see, the detail in it is incredible. To try and do this with another 3D printer in the FDM market is next to impossible. This is the very first printer that we've been able to get this sort of detail out of an FDM. It even crosses over to more your DLP, your liquid resin is the quality that we're getting out of this.
And that is why our 3D Gents is our number one.
So thank you for watching. That wraps up our top 5, and so please like, share and subscribe, and stay tuned because we'll be coming back with more top 5s and as well as reviews and things like that for you as well.